Yeah, here you are, son. Said, do you really need him that strong?
Dad, until I put him on, I thought you were Mom.
Papa, would you tell Mom I'll be back in a couple of hours?
Patty, you're not going out like that.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Halloween is months away.
Vic, you and your silly jokes.
Okay. Knock off the guerrilla warfare. Now, why the Sub-Zero outfit?
Because Richard likes to keep the top down on the car.
Likes to. He has to keep the top down on that car.
Why?
It hasn't got any.
It's such a joy living with a funny family. I gotta go. Richard will be right here. See you later.
All right, have a good time, but be home early because I worry when you're out driving.
Oh, Papa, you don't have to worry. Richard's never had an accident in all the years he's been driving. See you later.
How many years has he been driving?
6 months.
What do you think you're doing? Hey, did you see that car ram me?
Yeah, I sure did.
Good, then you're a witness.
Okay. My name is Patty Lane, and I live right here.
Thank you, son.
That guy had no right to... Son?
Oh, excuse me. In that outfit, you look like a boy.
Well, I'm not a boy, and you can ask anybody. You can...
Sorry about bumping into your car.
Richard, what were you doing in that car?
It's my father's car. Mine broke down. I'm sure we can work something out.
I'm sure we can, young fella, because I got a witness here who saw the whole thing, and she says you were absolutely at fault. Yeah, this girl right here.
Don't look at me. I look like a boy in this outfit.
What was your name again?
Matilda. Matilda Fenstermacher.
I thought you said your name was Patty Lane and you live here.
Oh, no, you're confused. Patty Lane is where I live.
Now, stop fooling around. You saw this accident. You're a witness whether you like it or not. Or do you want me to call a cop?
Oh.
Now, is that Patty or Patsy?
A little of both.
Meet Kathy, who lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! Thought they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day.
Where Kathy adores a minuet,
The ballet russe and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves her rock and roll, the hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet! Still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Papa? Can I talk to you a minute?
Yeah, sure. What's on your mind?
You sure I'm not interrupting something important?
No. This is just an editorial on Red China.
Oh.
What's your problem?
Well, I need some advice, but I don't want to disturb anything. Now, if you're really busy, you can just say, Patty, get lost, I'm busy.
Patty, if you were disturbing anything, I would say to you, Patty, get lost, I'm busy. So quit beating around the bush and get to it.
Okay. Now, it's very complicated, so listen carefully.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Now, A and B are friends. A sees an auto accident involving B and C. Before A knows that B is involved in the accident, C nails A as a witness against B, whose fault it was. You understand?
Yeah. But would you mind repeating the question?
I haven't asked it yet.
Oh.
The question is this. Should A testify against B, even though A and B are great friends and A and C don't even know each other? Especially when B is going to get in terrible trouble with his father. You follow me?
Oh, I follow you. I just don't understand you.
Well, what's so difficult to understand? It's as simple as ABC.
Patty, would you mind if we began this meeting all over again, from the very beginning?
From the very beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Papa. Papa? Can I talk to you a minute?
Get lost, Patty. I'm busy.
Richard? Are you ready for this?
What?
On television the other night, there was this fugitive, see? He was in a big jam, so he decided to go to the people who were causing him the trouble and throw himself on their mercy.
Hey, Patty, that's a great idea. You mean go to the owner of the other car and ask him to forget about it?
Right.
Sure, and if I throw myself on his mercy, maybe he won't even put in a claim. I mean, I'm a kid, and I'm honest. Maybe he'll say, forget it. What do you think, Kathy?
Forget it. Oh, come on, it's worth a try, isn't it? I suppose so. Okay, Rich, you go call Mr. Tompkins and tell him we'll be right over. Patty, what did happen when the fugitive went to the people who were causing him the trouble? They turned him into the police, and near the end of the show, he was on his way to the electric chair. You see, Mrs. Tompkins, all I'm trying to say is that if you'll forget about everything, Richard will be happy to pay.
My dear young lady, why don't you let Mr. Harrison tell me about the horrible accident himself?
Horrible accident? It wasn't anything of the kind.
Just the same, why don't you let Mr. Harrison tell me about it himself?
Okay. You don't have to be so formal. You don't have to call him Mr. Harrison. He's just a kid. Speak up, kid.
That's right, ma'am. It was just a simple little bump. Neither of us were going more than 5 miles an hour.
If that. Those cars never got any closer than two kids doing the Watusi.
Naturally, you want to protect the man you love.
Look, all we want to do is pay you whatever it comes to for the small damage done to your car.
That's right, ma'am. I'm going to give up something I can do without and give you $1 a week out of my allowance.
Oh, but you two children misunderstand me. We don't want a cent for the car.
You don't?
Oh, absolutely not. Burden you and this nice young man, well, we wouldn't even think of it.
Oh, Mrs. Tompkins, that's fantastic.
I don't know how to thank you, Mrs. Tompkins.
Who cares about damages to a car?
Isn't that great, Patty?
Yeah, sure is, Mrs. Tompkins.
It's the doctor bills that are really important.
The doctor bills?
Doctor bills for a car?
The doctor bills for my husband, the victim of, shall we say, teenage recklessness.
No, let's not. Mrs. Tompkins, are you trying to tell me that your husband was badly hurt?
The doctors still don't know how serious his internal injuries are.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
What was that?
It's Mr. Tompkins on his bed of pain.
Could we see him?
If you promise to be very quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
You can see how bad he looks.
That's nothing compared to the way I'm going to look when my father hears about this.
I think he wants to tell me something. Is there one M or two in testament?
You mean as in Old and New Testament?
I mean as in last will and testament. Oh, I'm afraid you're going to have to go. He's too weak to go on.
Me too.
I'm truly sorry for you, young man, being involved in a mess like this. And I'm sure your father will be happy to pay us whatever we ask. Just to keep you from having this terrible blot on your record. Say, $10,000?
$10,000?
Our lawyer, Mr. Lewis, will be in touch with you.
Thank you, Mrs. Tompkins. We knew you'd be fair.
The thing that bugs me is this was the first accident I've had in all the years I've been... all the months I've been driving.
He really doesn't have any reason to be so agitated.
Then tell him, Papa.
I mean, the other man is just going to make a claim, and his father will hand the claim over to the insurance company, and they'll pay the claim, no matter how big it is.
Yeah, and then they'll cancel his insurance.
Ross, they wouldn't. Would they?
Of course they wouldn't.
Well, they might raise his premium a little.
Uh-oh. Mr. Lane, do I have to tell my father?
But unless he likes surprises.
It's murder.
Richard, why don't you relax about it? It isn't that bad. You know, I remember during the war, something like this happened to me with an Army Jeep. Only I didn't have to contend with my father. I had to break the news to a supply sergeant, and that was murder. A supply sergeant could ruin you for life. Actually, he's lucky he's only got to deal with his father.
Doesn't that make you feel better?
No, worse. Do you know what my father was in the Army?
A supply sergeant.
So long. See you when you get back.
From where?
You mean you're gonna stay in town and take the rap?
Oh, boy.
Poor Richard. Ross, I'd like to talk to Mom and Papa.
So talk.
Ross.
I've got just as much right here as you do.
Ross.
I'm going. But I'd like to know how I'm gonna learn about life if you keep sending me out of the room. Ross.
What is it, dear?
How can I testify against Richard?
Oh, honey, stop being so worried about it, will you? Generally, these things are settled out of court.
Yeah, but what if it isn't? Can they force me to testify against my own boyfriend?
Darling, why don't you do something to take your mind off the whole thing? Go for a walk or something.
Can they?
Honey, you haven't even had a phone call from the man's lawyer. Why don't you relax?
I'll get it. Hello? No, this is Mrs. Lane. Yes, that's right, Patty. You're the lawyer for whom? Wait a minute, he wants to talk to you about the accident.
I can't talk now. I'm going out to take my mind off the whole thing. Any calls for me while I was out? Yes. A lawyer named Mr. Lewis called you. That's a surprise. He called about an hour ago, too. He said he wanted to come over and get a deposition from you. I know. I can't do this to Richard. I'll just have to keep stalling him till I find a way out of this mess. Please hurry up, Patty. I'm running out of excuses. What do you mean? Well, one time he called, I told him I was your mother. Another time he called, I told him I was your brother. What do I tell him next time? Oh, I don't know. Tell him nobody's home and you're just a burglar who's answering the telephone.
Patty, where are you going?
Out, around.
Darling, you can't keep ducking it forever. You've got to call this Mr. Lewis back.
Mr. Lewis?
Don't play games with me. The man is beside himself trying to reach you. You know, he accused me of using an English accent on one of the calls.
He must be out of his tree.
Oh, not only that. He told me he called yesterday and a burglar answered the phone.
I'll see you later, Mom.
Hello? Who? Patty Lane? Who's calling? The Watusi Dance Studio. You have 2 free dance lessons for her? She can just answer a simple question?
I'll take it upstairs.
Just a minute.
Yes, you wanted to talk to me?
Miss Lane? This is Mr. Lewis.
I'm sorry I had to resort to such an obvious subterfuge, but you gave me no choice.
Hello? Who is calling, please?
What happened to Miss Lane? Hello!
Miss Rain? You want to speak to Miss Rain? Who is this?
Never mind who is calling. Who is this?
This, Leon, Japanese houseboy. Who is this?
This is Mr. Lewis!
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Lewis. You from out of luck. Miss Rain is unavailable.
Are you sure?
I'm positive I had her on the phone.
Mr. Lewis, please, control yourself. No need to make a big McGilver. This is not Pearl Harbor, you know.
Now, you listen to me, Rayon, and you listen good.
You tell Miss Patty Lane that she had better return my call immediately. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Unconditional surrender. Oh, boy. Patty, you're fighting a losing battle. You saw the accident and you'll have to tell the truth. Yeah, I guess you're right. The question is, did I really see it? What? Now that I think about it, I'm not too sure. What do you mean? Kathy, all I can remember is I came out of the house and I heard the crash and then I looked over and... That's it, Kathy. I didn't see the accident, I just heard it. Are you quite sure? Oh, doesn't light travel faster than sound? Yes, but... There you are. Aren't you just rationalizing? Yeah, but doesn't it sound good? Any jury would see through such a flimsy pretext.
Hey, Eagle Eyes,
Can't you see I'm busy?
will you take a look at this coin and see if you can't make it out? Is it a 1915 D or S?
Where's your magnifying glass? Why don't you use
I
that?
can't find it.
You're always bothering me. It's a 1915 D, as in dumbbell.
Thanks, sis.
Never mind, sometimes he's... That's it, Kathy. That's it. That's what, Patty? That's how I can get out of testifying against Richard. You see, Patty, I'd really rather you didn't let me in on it. You see, you may need me later on as a character witness. I'm coming, just a minute. Hi, Henny.
I'm not Henny. I'm Mr. Lewis, Mr. Tompkins' attorney.
Oh, yes, of course. For a minute, you look just like my Aunt Henrietta. Won't you? I should have known it was you because you told me you were coming over. Oh, may I take your hat?
Yeah.
Thank you. I always admire a man who wears a derby. Can I take your suitcase, too?
No, thanks.
Oh, all right. Well, won't you come in? Excuse me. No, just make yourself at home. I know you want to talk about your client's accident, and I want you to know I'm willing to tell you everything I saw. Thank you.
Tell me, have you always worn glasses?
Oh, no, of course not. As a matter of fact, do you see this picture? Now, up until then, I never wore glasses.
Oh. Well, I took the liberty of preparing a statement which I'd like you to look over and read and correct if necessary.
Yes, thank you.
Can you see that all right?
Yes, of course.
Can you read it?
Yes, of course.
Oh, boy.
Oh, thank you. You're right. That's much better. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, would you like some candy?
No, thanks. I don't smoke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I get you a cold drink?
Please.
Don't go away. Ginger ale okay?
Oh, sure, just
Good.
Never mind, I'm not thirsty anymore.
Oh,
Oh, Miss Lane,
yes.
while you were in the other room, I took the liberty of turning on your TV.
Oh, good. Good.
You like that show?
Oh, yes, I love it. But I'm afraid you don't have it tuned in right.
Oh?
Now, I'll adjust it for you.
Oh, thanks.
You see, it's a color set, and you have to learn how to work it. But once you get used to it...
Miss Lane,
Yes.
I came here to assist.
Patty, do me a favor,
Ross, don't you see that I have a guest?
but it's vitally important.
Please excuse me. Little brothers, you know. Ross, what is it you want?
I just traded for this 1926 penny. Is that a D or an S?
That's vitally important. It's a 1926 S. Now, will you please leave me alone? I'm very busy.
Very funny.
Mr. Lewis, there's something you don't understand. Coins, excuse me, are the only things I can see.
Now, Miss Lane, I have to warn you. When I get you into court, friendly or unfriendly, you had better tell the truth, or so help me, I'll have you tried for perjury.
Just don't see what good it's going to do us. They already tried talking to him once. What's the point of trying again?
Look, Rich, you know as well as I do that most cases never even get to court. People sue for $100,000, and then you hear they settle out of court for $56.27. Look, I figure if we go to the Tompkins and catch them off guard and offer them cash, they may just accept it.
Yeah, but Mr. Tompkins is in such bad shape.
Well, money's one of the greatest wonder drugs in the world. He might just get instantly well.
Maybe you're right. How much do we have in cash?
$56.27. Look.
Who is it?
It's Mr. Tompkins.
But it can't be.
Hurry up.
See, I told you were wrong.
I know it was Mr. Tompkins. Do you mind if we pick up the blanket?
What, and expose him to a draft in his weakened condition?
Oh.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, he's groaning better.
Let's settle out of court.
I'd groan too if I had just run in the house that fast.
Are you calling me a liar?
I'm not calling anybody a liar, Mrs. Tompkins. All I'm trying to do is get at the truth.
Pay him their $56.27.
No. May I ask you a question?
Certainly.
If he's not dressed, why is he wearing a shoe?
That's a special shoe prescribed by our doctor to relieve the pain.
Pay him the $56.
Okay, Mrs. Tompkins, I guess we were wrong. I apologize.
From us, young man.
I sure hope not.
I beg your pardon.
It was nice seeing you again, Mrs. Tompkins. Goodbye!
Oh, here, Patty, shake
my
it off.
leg, my back.
It's probably nothing.
No, Richard, don't touch me until we find out if anything's broken.
But I just don't understand how this could have happened.
Oh, Richard, before I faint, get the names of all the witnesses.
Faint? Witness? Oh, well, you just barely stumbled on our step.
Richard, you heard her. You're my witness. Mrs. Tompkins just admitted I fell on her step. Now she's my witness against Mr. Tompkins.
What?
I know just how you feel, Mrs. Tompkins, testifying against your own husband.
Now, just a minute. Aren't you going a little too fast?
Woman to woman. Mrs. Tompkins, I know how you want to protect your husband from paying for the terrible pulverizing damage. Oh. I'll never dance again.
Don't be ridiculous. We aren't going to pay you a cent.
Pay me, Mrs. Tompkins? No, I'm afraid you misunderstand. I don't want anything from you.
Well, that's different.
But my folks are going to be awfully angry at you for ruining a potential ballet dancer.
Unless what?
Let's look at it this way, Mrs. Tompkins. You will win your case against Richard for $10,000, and my folks will win their case against you for $10,000, and then we'll be even. So why should you be the middleman? Why don't we just call it quits now?
Yeah.
All right, Miss Lane. You made your point.
Hey, Patty, how about that? I think you conned him in to get me off the hook.
How about that? Oh!
Okay, Patty. You can stop putting it on. She went in.
I'm not putting it on. I think I broke my ankle.
Here's Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. The Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins. walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two.
106 inclusive. Thanks, you saved my life. By the way, Marge, are you going to the game Saturday? With Gary Shellhammer? Oh, he's really ultra. Okay, have a good time. Bye. Remind me to send her a Christmas package marked "Don't open before soaking."
Scratch, Gary. Are you sure I should be in on this? This intrigue is putting a dent in my childlike innocence.
Fran? Hi, Patty. Could you please tell me what our history assignment is? Pages 99 through 106 inclusive. Gee, thanks, Fran. You saved my life. By the way, are you going to the game Saturday? With Chuck Walters? Oh, he's really ultra. Well, have a good time. Bye.
Scratch, Chuck?
No. Put a question mark next to his name. He's still alive.
Well, I thought you said he was taking her.
Correction. She said she thought he was taking her. You know, Fran. She still believes in Tinkerbell.
I'm surprised Richard hasn't asked you to that game.
Well, who said he hasn't?
Well, what's the reason for all the phone calls?
I just want to see who else is available before I say yes.
Patty, I don't think it's fair to keep him dangling.
Mom, if I said yes right off the bat, and then somebody really dreamy asked me to go, I'd have a trauma for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but what's going to happen if he gets tired waiting? You know the old saying, bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Yeah. But what about don't put all your eggs in one basket?
I think don't count your chickens before they're hatched is more to the point.
Wait a minute. How did we get into the poultry business?
Meet Kathy, who lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day.
Where Kathy adores a minuet.
The ballet russe and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves to rock and roll. A hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet. Still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
What I'm trying to say is this, Patty. Richard likes you. But if you put him down too often, his interest is going to cool off. And I imagine that there are other girls that would find him attractive.
Papa, when did you start worrying about Richard?
I haven't, believe me. It's just that I want to be sure you know what you're doing. Because when a man feels that he isn't appreciated, he becomes an easy victim for the first pretty girl who bats her eyes at him.
Papa, you've been watching too many late movies.
I assure you, it happens.
Richard falling for another girl? Impossible. Impossible. What is? The idea that Richard could ever fall for another girl. If it's so ridiculous, why have you been brooding about it all day? Brooding? Who's brooding? I know he has his faults, but when it comes to being trustworthy, he's like old dog Trey. Then why are you so worried? I'm not worried. Patty, I think you can carry on both sides of this conversation without me. If you'll excuse me.
Hi, Kat. Would you tell Patty Mr. Big is here? How's your piano coming, Kat?
Richard, I think after all these years you think you...
Think what?
I think that you'd ring the doorbell before just walking in.
Well, the door was open, so...
All right, I'll go get Patty. Excuse me. Became commander of the Carthaginian forces in Spain in 221 B.C. Don't leave this room till I give you the all clear. What's up? Richard. He thinks I'm you. Now it's my chance to find out if he can really resist temptation. How? By letting him go right on thinking I'm you. I'm sorry, Richard, but Patty is unavailable.
Anything wrong?
She gave herself an egg shampoo, and at the moment her hair looks more like an omelet than a head.
With one little egg?
It must have had a double yolk. She'll be devastated at not being able to see you.
Me?
Oh, now, let's not be modest, Richard. Yes. You're definitely the rugged outdoor type.
You're putting me on.
No, not at all. I can see you, striding across the moors with a pipe in your mouth and an Irish setter at your heels.
I used to have a dog, but he bit me all the time.
Perhaps that was because you didn't know who was master.
I sure did. When he bared his teeth, wow!
My, that will never do. You have a loose thread on your collar.
So what?
A man as impeccably dressed as you with a loose thread? Unthinkable. Why, Richard, your eyes.
What about him?
They're the same color I never noticed before.
Gee, Kath, I never saw you like this before. I always thought you were the quiet type.
Still waters run deep.
I sure do. Well, I gotta go. I just wanted to show Patty my new carburetor I put on the car.
Oh, it must take great skill to attach a carburetor. I've always admired manual dexterity.
Yeah, and you want me to fix you up with him.
Oh, Richard, you have a keen sense of humor. I've got an interesting lifeline. Do you know what it tells me?
What?
That you're alive.
Yeah?
Alive, vibrant, full of electricity.
Oh, that's probably because my pliers accidentally touched my battery cable. Man, you should have seen the smoke coming out of my ears.
Richard, no wonder your fingers are so strong with those enormous biceps.
Kath, me and Patty's tied up, and you're her cousin, and you're crazy about carburetors. Well, why don't we go for a ride and try it out? I mean, the new carburetor.
Yes. Tell Kathy what you're thinking about.
Well, I was thinking about that new carburetor. Now that I put that new dual on, it's really two carburetors in one.
Richard, I was wrong about your eyes. They are different.
I haven't got them both synchronized yet.
One of them has little gold flecks in it.
It squirts gas when my motor gets overheated.
And your chin, it's got a little dimple in it.
It's got a needle valve that gets stuck sometimes.
And your nose. It's absolutely patrician.
Not bad, considering I picked it up in a junkyard.
Why are you so distant?
Distant? If I was any closer, I'd... Oh! Sorry, Patty, I've got to get to class. The first bell rang.
Where'd you go after you left my house last night?
Last night?
Yeah.
When you say last night, what do you mean?
I mean the day before today, only after the sun went down.
Oh, last night.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that the bell?
I promise I'll let you know when I hear it. Now, about last night.
Yeah. Well, I drove around for a while.
By yourself?
Mainly.
Did you have fun?
Fun?
Yeah, F-U-N, fun.
What kind of fun can you have driving around by yourself? Mainly.
You know what's a shame?
What?
Well, I mean, as long as I couldn't go, it's too bad you didn't take Kathy out. I mean, then you wouldn't have been driving around by yourself. Mainly.
Well, I guess, yeah. Oh, you can't tell me that wasn't the bell. I've got to get to my Kathy. Civics class.
The gall of that boy. He just stood there with that silly grin on his face trying to pretend he wasn't out with you. With me? Well, you know what I mean. Papa was absolutely right. About what? About Richard. The first pretty face that came along, you went, "Hey," just as if I wasn't even alive. When are you going to learn to knock?
Number one boy downstairs. Await your arrival.
Aren't you going down? No. For all I care, number one boy can get right back in his rickshaw and head for outer Mongolia. Patty, that's not fair. And neither is the test you gave him. After all, even if he was out with me, even if he thought he was out with me, he was out with you. And the real you must have come through, and that's what he liked about me. I mean you. You really think so? Oh, don't answer that. I may forgive him. But first, I'll make him squirm a little. Hi, Rich. Having trouble?
Darn tie.
Here, let me help you. Oh, sorry. Slip.
Look, Patty, I've got big plans. Guess where we're going? To the city library to hear a lecture by Professor Ernest Krumholtz.
What kind of a thing is that to do on a Saturday afternoon?
Wait to hear what he's going to talk about.
Oh, what?
Your dictionary and how to make the most of it.
My what and how to make the what of it?
I hear he's great explaining how to use those doohickeys on top of vowels.
Oh, he is?
And if you don't know how to use those doohickeys, then you won't know how to pronounce words. You see what I'm driving at?
I'm beginning to.
And it sounds dull to you, huh?
No. As a matter of fact, it sounds fascinating.
It does?
Mm-hmm. I'd love to go.
You would? Swell. I'd hate to tell Wilbur and Cynthia we couldn't make it. Oh, what's the matter with me? I forgot. Just looking at Wilbur makes you nauseous. And you can't stand Cynthia.
Richard, look, you've really been too honest for me to pretend any longer. I'm not interested in your dictionary and how to make the most of it.
Oh, that's great. It's great you told me. I'll just call up Wilbur and tell him we couldn't make it.
Richard?
Yeah?
Look, it's kind of silly to do that. Why don't you just ask somebody else to go?
Well, I could ask Howard or Freddie or Pee-wee.
How about Kathy?
Kathy? Kathy who?
My cousin, Kathy. How many Kathys do you know?
Oh, that Kathy. Do you think she'd like to go?
Oh, Richard, I can practically guarantee you she will. I'll go tell her. Patty, not again. Just this last time, Kathy.
Darn carburetor.
Richard, I bet you told Patty that we were going to a lecture just so she'd back out.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, come on now. You can tell me the truth.
Well, as a matter of fact, you might...
Richard, don't put that oily shirt in the hamper, dear.
Okay, Mom.
Well, it's so nice to meet you, Kathy. My, it's amazing how much you look like Patty.
Yes, I've looked like her all my life.
Richard tells me that you're interested in classical music.
Oh, yes. I wouldn't listen to anything else.
Tell me, how do you feel about Schubert?
Well, actually, I like regular ice. Oh, good old Franz Schubert. Yes, every time I think of him not finishing that symphony, it gets me. Right here.
I understand you play the piano extremely well. I suppose you're familiar with Schubert's Impromptu in B-flat?
Oh, What a question.
Oh, it's one of my favorites, too. Kathy, I wonder if you would play it for me.
Play it? You mean on the piano?
Yes.
How well do you know it?
Oh, I guess I've heard it hundreds of times.
Oh, then I guess you really wouldn't want to hear it again. You must be sick and tired of it.
I wish you'd persuade Kathy to play the piano for us. I think she just wants to be coaxed.
Oh, believe me, I don't.
Come on, Kath, do your stuff. Mom loves good music.
No, I couldn't. She wouldn't want to hear me play, especially in my condition. You know, hangnails, and my tennis elbow's been acting up, and blisters from stirring all that fudge.
Oh, come on, Kath. I know you're dying to play. I don't get it. Hey, every time I come over to your house, you're pounding away on the piano. What's with the modesty bit?
Well, we just won't take no for an answer. There.
Too high. Too low. Too bad.
Come on, Kath.
Oh, my, I'm terribly sorry, but I can't play this piano. It's out of tune.
Amazing. The piano tuner was here just last week.
Oh, well, you see, I'm used to tuning my own piano. Perhaps another time.
Oh, wait just a minute. Oh, where is it? Ah, here. I knew this piano wrench would come in handy sometime.
Come on, Kath. Tune it. Hurry up, Kath.
Don't worry. There's still plenty more strings left. Welcome to World War III. What's wrong with it?
I don't know.
Sounds like it could use a shot of penicillin. I suppose you're going to blame me for that, too.
No, Kath, I'm not. I know you specialize in breaking piano strings.
I said I was sorry.
The first one was an accident, but what about the rest of them?
It must have been of inferior quality.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know those piano strings are going to come out of my allowance until I'm old enough to vote. Oh, you sure fixed me.
Oh, it's fine for you to talk after the way you've acted.
Kath,
What?
do you want me to walk you home?
No, thank you, Richard. I think you'd better save those king-size mucklucks you call feet for stepping on your dancing partner's toes.
I'll have a chocolate soda. You better make that a double. Well, what do you know? She came back to beg me to forgive her. Kathy, I accept your apologies.
Apologies? For what?
Well, to start with, breaking all those strings.
Strings?
As if you didn't know. And how about the crack about the mucklucks?
I broke the string on your mucklucks?
Now try being funny about my losing my allowance for a year.
A year's allowance for a pair of shoestrings?
Either something's happened to your sense of humor or... Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Richard, are you all right? Can I get you something?
A new head. My old one's got a hole in it.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing. I'll tell you this. Two can play the same game. We'll see how Patty likes it when the shoe is on the other foot.
You wanted to see me?
Kathy, it's bigger than both of us.
What is?
What we mean to each other. Now, don't fight it, baby.
Richard, you flipped.
Sure, over you. We can run away and get married. I'll get a job. Oh, it's written in the stars.
Don't touch me.
Okay? That's the way you feel about it, Patty.
No, you mean Kathy.
No, I don't. I mean Patty. I've been on to you from the start.
Oh, sure.
Now, wait a minute, Patty.
Look, Rich, I don't know when you found out, but you didn't know that first night in the car. You were absolutely drooling, and I'm glad I found out about the real you before it's too late.
I didn't want to do this, but you're forcing me.
What is it?
Definite proof that I knew. It's a little note I wrote to myself. This is to certify that on Thursday night, Patty sat at the piano pretending to be Kathy. I am writing this document to prove to the world that I wasn't fooled for a minute.
Does it really say that?
Oh, I've been doubted for the last time. You know what I'm doing? I'm keeping this forever. Next time I come unglued over a girl, I'm going to pull it out and read it and remind myself that the girl of my dreams didn't trust me.
Oh, Richard, wait.
No, I'm sorry. You've hurt me for the last time. What is it?
I'm sorry.
You admit you were wrong?
Scout's honor. Tell me, how did you know it was me?
Masculine instinct.
Masculine instinct?
Sure. When a fellow feels that way about a girl, he's got a built-in radar that goes beep, beep, beep whenever she's within a mile of him.
Oh, Richard, I'll never doubt you again.
You keep yourself free, I may take you to the basketball game tonight.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Patty, that wasn't very nice.
I can't help it, Mom. I had to see what's inside or I'll explode.
Patty, I think you should bear in mind that this whole thing started because you didn't trust Richard. Now, if you open that envelope, that's just another sign of your lack of faith. You understand?
You're absolutely right, Papa. I should be ashamed of myself. Here, you open it.
Boy's penmanship leaves something to be desired. This is to certify that on Thursday night, Patty was sitting at the piano pretending to be Kathy. And I'm writing this document to prove to the world that I wasn't fooled for a minute.
Good old Richard. Hi, Rich.
Come on, Patty, let's go. We're gonna be late.
Richard?
Come on, Patty, let's go. What are you trying to pull?
You said you could tell Patty from a mile away.
Well, that's right.
This is a masculine instinct test to see how well that built-in radar works. Having trouble, Ruby?
Just a second. Okay, Patty, let's go.
That's wonderful, Richard. How could you tell?
Just like I told you. Radar, instinct. If you really must know, I smelled that perfume I gave you for Christmas.
It's great. Richard,
Yeah?
the next time you send me perfume, make sure it isn't gardenia. Gardenia gives me hives. I gave that bottle to Kathy.
Come on.
I even mentioned it.
Honey, you're letting in too much air.
How can I tell if I'm in here?
Don't talk.
Well, how's the patient?
She's got something. One of her glands is swollen.
Well, I don't know what you were saying, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
I'll bet $1 million it isn't 1 point over 98.2.
It's 99.8.
Pay up.
Ha ha.
You have to stay home today, young lady.
Mom, I can't stay home.
I'm sorry, dear. There are just too many things going around. I'm going to call the doctor.
Oh, Mom, 99.8 isn't even a temperature. You'll laugh. Mom, maybe I'm just more warm-blooded than the average person. This is a disaster. I can't afford to miss school today, Papa.
You got a test?
No, but I have a dramatic club rehearsal and a meeting with the dance committee at lunchtime, and somewhere I've got to squeeze in my debating team partner.
And that's all?
Yeah, except for the jazz concert Richard's going to take me to tonight. So you see, Papa, I just can't afford to miss school today. Please explain that to Mom.
Well, your mother'd be a lot more sympathetic if you were worried about missing history, math, and English.
Papa, I don't have to worry about history, math, and English. They'll still be there when I get back.
Everywhere from Zanzibar. And crepes,
Mom, you up here?
Yes, dear. Yes?
Mom, do you suppose I could come down and watch some television?
Oh, you know what the doctor said, dear. You're to stay in bed until he gets here.
Oh, that won't be until this afternoon.
Well, that's when he makes his house calls, if there's no emergency. Well, if you'll excuse me, honey, I've got a lot to do.
Mom,
Yes?
could I have a cheese sandwich?
After the big breakfast you had?
That was over an hour ago.
All right.
Mom, if you wouldn't mind another pillow, please.
Oh, sure.
Thanks, Mom. You're an angel of mercy. Mom, you may as well go all the way. Why don't you make one of those great grilled cheese sandwiches with ham and tomato and a little Worcestershire sauce? You know those special ones? And some milk, naturally.
Naturally. Anything else?
Yeah, some olives.
Is that all?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to be any trouble, Mom. Mom!
Yes?
I forgot to ask you something!
What is it?
I don't want to yell. It might hurt my throat.
Okay, I'm coming.
Mom, do you think it would be all right if I use the phone?
I really think it would be better if you just rested. And besides, who are you going to call, dear? Everybody's in school.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
If you'll excuse me, honey, I really have got an awful lot to do.
I know. Why don't you take my temperature again?
I really don't think it's necessary.
I know. I'll take my pulse.
Do that.
Oh, no!
Patty! What is it?
My nail is chipped. Mom, would you get me the nail file, please? Thanks, Mom.
Patty, why don't you make some phone calls?
But you said nobody'd be home. Doris Hartley's home with a broken leg.
Wonderful.
Hello, Mrs. Hartley. This is Patty. May I talk to Doris, please? In school? What about a broken leg? Oh, yeah, I guess 2 months is plenty of time for a broken leg to heal. So, what's new, Mrs. Hartley? The house must seem pretty empty without Doris around, huh? I got you out of where? Oh, well, you better put something on. You'll catch your death of cold, and then the house really will be empty. Hello? Boy, what a grout. Hello, is this Brooklyn Heights High School? Is this the secretary? Hi. I wonder if you'd do me a very large favor. Is the absentee list made up yet? Oh, good. Would you read it to me? No particular reason. I just want to see who's available for some phone calls. Me, I am, let's just say I'm a community-minded citizen who makes a hobby out of calling shut-ins. You're not allowed to give out students' phone numbers? I'll tell you what. Why don't you give me the numbers without the names? Hello? Gotta do something nice.
Natalie? See, what's been going on around there? I've been trying to reach you for an hour.
I let Patty make some phone calls just to occupy herself.
Well, who's she been calling? Aren't all her friends in school?
Did you ever hear of the classified phone book? She's been poring over it like it was the Book of the Month Club selection.
In other words, she's feeling pretty good.
She's fine. Now ask me how I am.
Well, you were the one who insisted that she stay home.
Yeah. Honey, I haven't got any more time to talk to you. I've been trying to get the breakfast dishes done for the last 3 hours. But thanks for calling. It's good to talk to somebody without climbing the stairs. Bye, dear.
Goodbye.
Yes?
Can I get up for a minute just to get something from my dresser?
Can it wait until I get there?
No, it's vitally important.
I'll be up in a minute.
Oh, Mom, can I have an apple as long as you're coming up?
I am up.
Mom, there must be something wrong with this electric clock.
Why?
Because it only says 5 after 11.
Well, that's the right time. What'd you want?
My makeup tray inside. Boy, time certainly drags when you're home in bed.
Certainly does.
Mom, could I have some tissues over there? I thought we blew a fuse.
Not yet.
Oh, I guess I'll need my pencil sharpener for my eyebrow pencil. It's right there on the desk. Oh, and Mom, could I have the mirror over there on the dresser? Thank you.
What's all this for?
Well, I have to do something to keep me from going wiggy. Mom, are you sure we can't get the doctor here any earlier?
I told you he just doesn't consider this an emergency. That lot he knows.
Mom? There's no rush about the apple. Anytime you happen to be coming back upstairs.
I have a feeling it'll be soon. Here's your apple, dear, and I brought a few other things for the rest of the afternoon so I won't be... What are you doing covered up? What have you done to yourself?
It's the newest look. The magazine says it's going to be very big this year.
Where, in Hong Kong?
Look, this article says makeup can uncover your secret self. What do you think?
I think you should put the cover back on. I'll get you a washcloth. I think you're beautiful. All right, honey, here's a washcloth. Now get all that stuff up.
All for one and one for all. I'm just trying to keep my mind occupied.
Well, I don't suppose you'd consider doing a little schoolwork.
In my condition?
Scrub up.
The barrel bag.
Hi, honey. No. You're not interrupting.
I just wanted to get your advice, Martin. Do you think it would be all right if Bob Holton came over to visit Patty? He's the president of the dramatic club.
Well, I really don't know.
It's just that she's anxious to find out what happened at the rehearsal, and frankly, I don't know what to say. What do you think?
Why don't you check the doctor?
He already left the office. She seems in very good spirits. And frankly, I'd welcome anything that would occupy her.
Well,
Well, I just wanted to get your opinion. Thanks, dear.
anytime.
Well, how'd it go?
Well, what can I tell you, Patty? Without you, the rehearsal was a shambles, an absolute shambles.
Oh, gee, that's too bad.
Oh, try to get those kids quiet. I'm president of the club, and I'm playing the king. And they still wouldn't listen to me. Now, how can you do a play like St. Joan with everybody horsing around? Let's face it, nobody can keep those kids as quiet as you can.
Well, Bob.
Nobody can yell as loud as you can. I have to watch my voice. Well, soon, Patty.
I'm fine. Really fine.
Those are glazed fruit.
Glazed fruits, just what I love. You want one?
Hate him.
How about some nuts or stuffed dates or fruit or candy?
No, thanks.
What's in that box?
Forgot. It's the St. Joan wig.
Ooh.
I want you to try it on.
Okay.
You should have heard Gloria Peterson reading your part. It was really something else.
Was he really that bad?
Listen, you know in the play where I say, preposterous that this frail little girl should lead the armies of France.
Yeah.
It's preposterous, all right. She's 2 feet taller than me. Don't move. Don't move.
What is it, a bee?
You are she.
Who?
You are St. Joan. Listen, do you feel up to a little rehearsing?
I feel fine. Now, why don't we do the scene where the king comes to visit Joan in her cell?
Good idea. We haven't gotten to the meat of that scene yet.
I think we've gotten to the ham.
Please be serious.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, I start, right? The king flatters me by his presence.
Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Give me a chance to get into the mood. I can't become a cruel tyrant like that.
I'm sorry.
I'm a bitter old man. Old before my time. Life is cruel. I'm unloved, despised, not well liked.
What play is that?
Now you broke the mood.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, that's the cell door. I'm just coming in. You are the king of France, even if you are bitter and old, hated and despised by friend and foe alike. But why are you hated and despised? Because you're rotten, because you're cruel, because you treat everybody If there are true heart of gold, I'll be human being.
Bob? Bob? Bob, I think you went in the wrong cell!
Who's that?
Bob. He's my leading man in the play. Where'd he go?
At the front door. Hey, do you think you'll be okay without a keeper?
Ho, ho, ho. What do you want?
Freddie Marshall's here, and in case you don't feel well enough to see him, he sent these up. And just after dinner mints.
Of course I feel well enough to see him. I have to talk to him about that speech for the debate. Hello? I got it, Mom. Oh, hi, Emma. How'd it go? Oh, you need my opinion, huh? Well, look, Freddie's here now, and Bob just left, and I doubt if he'll ever be back. Why don't you come by, and we'll talk about the dance committee in about a half hour. Okay, bye. Tell Freddie you can come up. You want one? One!
Dear, I just want to warn you, the doctor called. He'll be here at 4 o'clock.
Gee, Mama, I don't think I can work him in until 4:30. And so I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, that my worthy opponents have utterly and completely failed to show us why the voting age should not be lowered. We of the affirmative, however, have amply demonstrated that today's teenager is fully equipped to take his or her place in the national scene. Yeah. And in conclusion, let me just say this. We teenagers are tired of being future citizens. We want to contribute here and now and not in the hereafter. I thank you. Hey, that speech is great, Freddie.
Thanks.
Now, what about your speech?
I'm working on it.
Oh, you better get cracking. The debate's Monday.
Hey, do you think you'll be all right by then?
I'm fine now, Freddie. The only reason I stayed home was because my mother insisted.
Nat? What is all this?
What are you doing home so early?
Well, you called and said Patty was giving you such a rough time. I thought maybe I'd come home and help, but it's like a congressman's lobby. What are all these kids doing here?
Oh, they're waiting to see Patty. That's Bob. He's the president of the Dramatic Society. That's the dance committee. Richard, you know, the girl he's talking to is Gloria Peterson.
Who's the man on the phone?
The doctor.
The doctor? You mean you let Patty keep him waiting?
Of course not. He had to call his office. I was just going to go up and tell Patty that he's here and to get rid of Freddie.
Freddie?
Debating team.
Natalie, I don't understand you. I mean, how can you let all these kids come here when Patty is sick?
I asked you and you said it was okay.
Well, you mentioned one, not a whole congregation. Here, put that in the refrigerator, would you?
What is it?
That's some ice cream for Patty. I'm going up and clear out her room. Excuse me, girls. Pardon me, I'm coming through. Excuse me, fellas, I just live here.
You sure you don't want one for the road?
No, thanks. I really got to get going. Besides, it's too close to dinner.
Dinner? It's funny, I'm not even hungry.
So, do you want me to tell the dance committee to come on up?
Nope.
Hi, Papa. This is Freddie Marshall. He was just leaving.
I know he is. When you get downstairs, tell the rest of the group that visiting hours are over.
Oh, but Papa, I haven't seen the dance committee yet. And Richard's here, and I hear Bob got back, and Gloria Peterson. Boy, is she gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid the doctor takes precedence over all of them.
Oh, is he here already?
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring him right up.
Papa, you want a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Lemonade? Are you a loyal subject of the king? Are you friend or foe? Are you with Joan?
No, I live here. How long is Patty going to be tied up? Till the doctor leaves, I guess.
Stand aside! I must take my leave.
Okay, but you better stop by the gas station and have them tighten your bolts.
Well, you must be a very popular young lady to judge from the number of visitors down there.
That's when she's homesick. You can imagine what it's like around here when she's well.
How's her pulse?
Perfectly normal for a girl her age.
Of course it's normal. I bet my temperature's normal, too.
Patty. Has it gone up?
No, down. It's normal.
See? Can I get up and get dressed?
As far as I'm concerned, you can.
You see, that's what we need in the world. More doctors like you. Mom, would you have...
Nat, you know it couldn't be anything too serious. I mean, she doesn't even have a temperature.
And I say she has.
But you heard the doctor.
Martin, I felt her forehead. Are you going to compare a thermometer with a mother's hands?
And risk being called un-American? Certainly not.
I guess I might as well forget about Patty going to the jazz concert tonight with me, huh?
Oh, I'm afraid so, yeah.
Poor Patty. She used to love jazz.
Richard, If you'd like to run on along home, I'll be happy to phone you later.
You mean you're throwing me out?
No, you can stay if you want to.
I sure would like to hear the doctor's verdict.
Well?
What is it?
The worst case of the sweets I've seen in a long time. What? You turn that candy store back into a bedroom and she'll be fine.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'll take care of that right away.
You're welcome. Care for a chocolate-covered pretzel?
Thank you, Doctor.
Richard,
Yeah?
I want you to do me a favor.
You name it.
I want you to go to that jazz concert tonight with somebody else.
Oh, nothing doing.
Please, Richard. You can't tie yourself down to me. Not now.
Patty,
Richard, I'd feel much better if I thought you were having a good time.
Well, what kind of a good time can I have without you? I might as well tear these tickets up.
No, wait. You sure you don't want to go without me?
I'm positive. Besides, who can I get at this late hour?
How about Gloria Peterson?
Patty, in the first place, she's too tall. And in the second place,
Yes.
you break my arm.
You better believe it.
There's only one girl I'm sure would be free now. And that's Dusty Higgins' kid sister. I guess she'd get a big kick out of going with me.
There, she sounds perfect. Why don't you take her?
Well, I don't know, Patty.
Richard, I insist.
But, Patty,
Please, Richard. I must rest now.
Oh, sure.
Richard.
Yeah?
You know, I finally understand what Joan means when she says in the play, only through our own suffering can we know the suffering of others. Do you understand?
Yeah. But I don't think the concert's going to be that bad.
You feeling better, honey? I'm glad that you told Richard to go to that concert with somebody else. That was very generous of you.
That's okay, Papa. I didn't see any point in wasting 2 good tickets. And Dusty Higgins' little sister will have a great time. You know, I'll bet it's her first date with a grown man.
Grown man.
Believe me, Papa, to a kid, Richard's a grown man. You know, I can still remember my first date with an older man. Up until then, I guess I had been to 2 Saturday movies with a boy. Then one day, out of the clear blue sky, Jack Nordstrom called and asked me to go to the museum. He was ancient. Must have been 15. I almost fell off my shoes.
Patty, Richard's here. He forgot the tickets.
Ah, clunk. Oh, there they are. Would you give them to him, Papa?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd forget my head if it wasn't tacked on.
You said it, I didn't.
I'm sorry, Patty, but I gotta go.
Where's Dusty's kid sister?
She's waiting in the car.
Oh, why don't you bring her up? I'm dying to meet her.
Well, I know, Patty. You know how embarrassed she is. I mean, knowing that you're my girlfriend, and, well, you know that whole story.
She must be excited, huh?
Well, you can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I better get back to the car.
Richard? 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 She must be calling you because my name's Patty.
Huh?
Open the door, Richard.
The door? Oh, yeah, the door. Yeah?
You forgot my present for Patty.
Oh. She didn't know she brought you some candy. Well, I've got a split.
Richard, where are your manners? Ask her to come in.
Patty, it's getting late.
That's ridiculous. Come on in. Hi.
Patty, I would like you to meet Eve, Dusty's kid sister. Eve, I would like you to meet Patty, my friend.
Eve, I'd like you to meet Richard, the rat.
What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your
Ralph Gilroy, yes, he's very good looking. Well, he's definitely another possibility. Patty, I don't know what this little tiff between you and Richard is about, but it's not a little tiff, and I really don't want to talk about it. All right. But you've only been not talking for 2 days. Do you think it's a little early to be looking for a replacement? Kathy, this is war. It's never too early to build up your defenses. Besides, Ralph Gilroy really digs me. How do you know? When a boy keeps hitting you and pulling on your hair ribbon, that's a definite sign. Your hair ribbon? Back in elementary school. No matter how many times I kicked him in the shins, he kept pulling on my hair ribbon. And then, one day, it happened. I knew it was love. What happened? He kicked me back. I'd better get dressed. Are you sure you don't want to go to a movie with Freddie and me? Uh-huh. All right, Patty. I understand. After all, Richard might call again, and then you wouldn't be here to refuse his call. Kathy, I assure you I'm above that childishness. Well, perhaps Richard has decided to stop phoning and make a frontal attack. He wouldn't dare. If that's Richard, you can tell him to go jump in a lake. He's all wet anyway. Who was it? Was it Richard?
No, but I think he sent you a box of candy.
You didn't accept it, did you?
Why not?
Well, you can throw it in the garbage can for all I care.
Throw it in the garbage can when I'm here? Oh, boy. Paul?
Is this 624-1098?
Oh, hi, Richard. This is Ross.
Oh, I thought I had the wrong number.
Hey, Rich, this candy is great.
Candy? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the candy. You mean somebody else sent this to her?
Ross, would you ask Patty if she'd please come to the telephone?
Sweets to the sweet. Al Cameraman.
What?
Richard, the next time you don't send a box of candy, would you call a guy and let him know?
Meet Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day.
Where Kathy adores a minuet,
The ballet russe and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves her rock and roll, the hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet! Still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Hello?
Hello, Richard? This is Ross.
Ross, can you talk a little louder?
I can't. That's the whole point.
Well, how's Patty?
Well,
Still sore at me, huh?
Rich, will you hold on a second? Patty! Phone! Patty! Phone call! Patty!
I'm coming.
I haven't got all day, will you?
I didn't even hear it ring. Hello?
Oh, boy, is that you, Patty?
Who is this?
It's me, Richard. Hello.
Goodbye.
What'd you do that for?
I told you I didn't want to talk to Richard if he called.
Sure, but he didn't call.
What?
I called him.
You... Yeah, and now he thinks that... Oh, how would you like a knuckle sandwich?
Don't flip your wig. I was just trying to patch things up.
What makes you think I want to be patched? Mom!
Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy.
What's the matter?
Do you know what your son, the ankle biter, just did? He tricked me into talking to Richard on the phone.
Well, I think that was very sweet of him, and I think you're going to spoil your appetite for dinner.
How can you spoil something that's already spoiled?
Patty, since you haven't seen fit to confide in me, I don't know what this little spat between you and Richard is all about.
It's not a little spat.
No? What is it?
Nothing, Mom.
All right, darling, if you don't want to talk about it, that's up to you.
Where are you going?
Oh, I've got work to do.
Don't you want to hear what happened between Richard and me?
Well, I'm not going to drag it out of you.
You're not?
Certainly not.
Mom, why don't you sit down and I'll tell you. Remember last week when I had a date with Richard at the shake shop? I waited over an hour for him.
He was that late?
He was even later. He never showed up. And then the next day at school, somebody told me they saw him at the library with Cynthia Howard.
I see. Did he have any explanation?
Of course not.
He didn't say anything?
Who knows? I haven't talked to him since.
Well, dear, I don't think that's a very reasonable attitude. Suppose he can explain the whole thing. It might just be a misunderstanding.
You really think so?
Well, you'll never know unless you talk to him.
That's true. Maybe that's him.
I'm sorry, old timer, but all systems are no. Bye.
Who's that?
Richard?
Richard!
Yeah, and you saw me, Patty. I hung up on him as fast as I could.
Ross, I can strangle you!
What?
Mom!
9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 19, 25, 30, 34, 36, 39, 42, 47, 49. 40 carry. 4 and 3 is 7. 1 is 8, 13, 18, 20, 27. Do you want something, honey?
No. How's it all going?
Right now, it's quite a mess.
Oh. Well, I won't bother you.
28, 30, 30...
Was that the phone?
No, I think that was the timer going off in the kitchen.
Oh.
30,
Well, I really don't want to bother you.
4 and 3 is 7. 1 is 8, 13, 18, 27, 28, 37, 44, 52, 59...
Dear, may I interrupt?
Just a minute, honey. 59, 66, 74, 74 and 6 is 80, and 9 is 89, and... is it really that important?
It's about Patty and Richard.
66, 74, 80.
Martin. Martin, she's just miserable about the whole thing.
If she's so miserable, how come she went out with that cameraman boy the night before last?
That just proves that he's shorter than she is.
Natalie, that doesn't prove anything. Do you remember the 4th of July just before we got married?
When we weren't talking.
That's right. And you thought I was so miserable? Well, I dated Gladys Healy 3 nights in a row just to get even with her.
Martin Lane, you told me you stayed in your room and read poetry.
I did? 4 and 3 is 7. 18, 27, 28, 37, 44, 52, 52 and 7,
Dad,
59.
you busy?
Very. 59.
Well, is it going to be long?
No, I should be through in a couple of years. 59, 66.
Well, all I want
70...
is a quick yes or no. It's about getting an advance on my allowance.
72, 78.
I'm willing to pay interest on it.
97 and 7 is 100 and
Well, wouldn't you want a little extra
100,
income?
100 and
I'll wait until you're through.
4 and 3 is 7. 1 is 8. 5 is 13. 13 and 5 is 18. 18 and 9. Ross, would you get that phone, please?
And get my head chopped off again?
18 and 9 is 27. 28. 28 and 9. 28.
Why aren't you answering the phone? It might be Richard.
That's why I'm not answering it.
Hello? Oh, yes, he is. Just a moment, please. It's Eddie.
Sorry. Hi, Eddie. Yeah, I asked him. No, he wouldn't. I guess you'll have to go to the movies by yourself. Yeah, I know how it is. I don't like to go alone either. You want to come over here and maybe we'll hack around? No. Okay, it's up to you. So long. Changed your mind?
Changed my mind about what?
Who is this?
It's Richard. And Ross, before you hang up, would you ask Patty if she'd please come to the telephone?
Okay. Patty! Richard's on the phone! Patty!
I'm coming!
Here she comes.
You mean she'll talk to me?
Yeah, she's dying to talk to you.
Ross!
Here.
No. Hang up!
Hold on a second, Rich. There's been a little hang-up.
Mom!
Now what? Did you hear what that little gleep just did?
Well, I thought you wanted to talk to Richard.
Not if he thinks I'm anxious to talk to him.
Martin, would you do something about this?
Patty, I hope you realize you're taking a risk.
What do you mean, a risk?
Well, as your mother will tell you, you can push a man only so far.
Believe me, dear, he's right.
Think I'm pushing?
As your father will tell you, a man has his pride.
Even Richard.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sorry, Richard, but I just can't stand to hear a grown teenager cry.
Ross, don't hang up! You hung up.
Holy cow, isn't that what you just told me to do?
This is a fine time to start doing what you're told. Oh, what did he say? Did he say call back? Did he say anything?
He said he's coming over.
He is? So, he's coming over to apologize, huh?
I got news for you, pal. You got a wrong misimpression.
What do you mean?
Richard says that he left his notebook here last week. He needs it, and that's the only reason he's coming over.
Well, I got news for you, pal. That's just an excuse to see me. He didn't leave any notebook here.
Don't move.
In that case, he probably won't even come in unless apologize.
I'm sorry, Patty.
It's not your fault, Ross. It's me. How can I hope to compete with a girl as cool as Cynthia Howard?
I think you're just as cool as she is.
Yeah? Am I just as pretty?
Wouldn't you rather be cool and pretty?
Thanks a lot.
Well, I didn't mean it. Well, as a matter of fact, I think that any boy that wouldn't go for a girl as pretty as you must be out of his tree.
Ross, that's the first time you ever said I was pretty.
Well,
Am I?
Patty, I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard a certain person say so.
Richard?
No, Mom.
Thanks a bunch.
Wait a minute. Why don't you try to make up with Richard when he comes over?
He's not even gonna come inside. He's just coming over to get his notebook.
How about, suppose you can't find it?
Of course I can find it. It's right there.
Yeah, but you know how things have a way of disappearing around here.
Ross, that would not only be unethical, it would be wrong.
Wait a minute, Patty. I think I got a way to make it ethical.
How?
Well, if I hide it somewhere, you really won't know where it is.
That's collusion.
All right, how about this? What's collusion?
I don't know, but it means underhanded.
Okay, supposing you tell me not to hide it, and I hide it anyway. That way I'll collude and you won't have to.
Ross, you're a great rap.
Hey, wait a minute. I just had another idea.
What?
I mean, just as insurance.
Collusion insurance?
Yeah. If I went to the movies, you wouldn't be able to ask me where I put the notebook even if you attempted to.
Is that really necessary?
Well, I'm just thinking of your happiness.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be better that way.
Okay, that'll be 75 cents for the movies and a quarter for popcorn. All right, forget the popcorn.
Oh, you look lovely, dear.
Are you sure it's not too much? I mean, I really want to play it cool.
Oh, you look great. I'm sure you win first prize.
What?
Aren't you going to a costume party?
Pablo, for your information... It's out! It's out!
Patty, don't rush.
I love the way she plays it cool.
Hi.
Good evening.
Did Ross mention...
Yes, he said you were coming by to pick up your science notebook.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll just wait out here then.
I'm very sorry, but we don't allow visitors to wait on the front porch, irregardless of whomsoever they might be.
What?
Come in.
That sure is a pretty outfit, Patty.
Well, I just didn't have a chance to get dressed.
Oh, you're going out?
I might.
Well, then I better split.
But I might not. So, why don't you just come in and sit down?
Boy, you sure look pretty, Patty.
I do?
And listen, Patty, about last week.
No explanation necessary.
Really?
Absolutely not. Where were you?
do you mean, where was I?
I happen to know you were at the library with Cynthia Howard.
I wasn't with her. She just happened to be there. I mean, it's a free public library.
Oh, really? And when did you ever go to a free public library except to get warm? And what about our date to meet at the Shake Shop?
What's the matter with you, Patty? You were supposed to meet me at the library.
What?
Yeah, I waited over 2 hours for you.
You did? Under the circumstances, Richard, I feel there's only one thing I can say. I forgive you.
Boy, I sure missed you.
You did?
Yeah, it seemed like a year, you know?
I know. Boy, time sure doesn't fly sometimes.
Yeah, Patty,
Yes, Richard.
Holy cow! Time sure does fly sometimes. I gotta get that notebook and start cramming for that test on Monday.
But today's Saturday. You have 2 whole days.
I know, but I've been goofing off for 2 whole months. And my dad said if I don't bring my grade up, I've had it.
What do you have to bring it up to?
Anything that doesn't look like an F. Really, I gotta go. Could I please have that notebook?
Yeah, I think Ross said he saw it someplace.
See you later, Patty. Going to a movie.
Ross, wait a minute. Wait. Look, Richard needs that notebook. I mean, he really needs it. You know what I mean?
Certainly, Patty, and I sure wish I could help you, but I gotta get over to Eddie's.
No, I'm not kidding. He really needs it. Ross!
Well, that sister of mine is really great when she's putting on an act. You know, for a minute there, I thought she actually wanted that notebook.
You think hiding in the laundry bag was safe?
We'll find it there.
Anyone who's looking for dirty laundry. Hello? It's Patty.
Hello? Yeah?
Oh, Ross, am I glad I got you. Now you listen to me, and you listen good. Richard needs that notebook.
Patty, is Richard there by the phone?
Yeah.
For a minute there, I thought you were serious.
I am serious. Where is the notebook?
Boy, Patty, what a put on.
Ross, where is it?
Keep it up, Patty. Keep it up. You're doing great.
Ross, this is your last chance. If you don't tell me where that notebook is, I swear you'll regret it for the rest of your life.
You overdid it, Patty. And besides, I gotta go. Bye.
Ross!
Patty, instead of persecuting a poor kid, why don't we just look for the notebook?
You're right. I can always persecute him later.
I tell you what we'll do. We'll flip to see which movie we go to.
No, I'm willing to see whichever one you want to.
You are? Gee, thanks, pal.
The guest should never argue with the host.
Hey, wait a minute. Which one am I?
You're not paying for us?
Eddie, if I had enough money for 2, you wouldn't be one of them.
It's Ross's strong box. He keeps all his valuables in it. Here's some tools. Try and open it.
I don't get it. There's nothing valuable about a science notebook, particularly mine. You got a hairpin?
What do you need a hairpin for? You got all these tools.
Oh, I don't know, but that's the way they always open them in the movies.
Oh, here, let me try.
It's open.
Some safe cracker.
I don't see my notebook.
That rotten little kid. I knew he was loaded, and he took my 75 cents, and then he ran out on the whole thing.
What do you mean he ran out?
Well, you saw him, Richard. He just ran out right before your very eyes.
Yeah, but what you pay him for?
It's something personal. Let's just forget about it.
No, wait a minute, Patty. There's something here I'm beginning not to understand.
Mom, we're going to check the kitchen.
Okay, honey.
Natalie, this is ridiculous. We've looked all over the house for that stupid notebook.
Well, it's got to be here somewhere.
Yeah, but meanwhile, I haven't balanced my checkbook yet.
Well, then why don't you go back to it?
You don't mind?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Balancing a checkbook is more important than your daughter's happiness. Well, then go ahead.
Where do you want me to look?
Hey, wait a minute. There's something behind here.
Is that the notebook?
Well, move this a little and I'll try and get to it. Are these the cigars Ross gave you last Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't smoke them.
I smoked one. Now, maybe I should raise his allowance. Boy, is he cheap.
What are you doing?
When Ross is old enough to smoke, he's going to get a nice present from his cheap father.
Check Ross's room again.
All right.
Oh, maybe you should check the basement.
Now you tell me.
Oh, and Martin, as long as you're going to be down there, would you please take this laundry and dump it into the washing machine and turn it on.
I'm sure it's safe for you to show up.
Sure. Either they've already made up or they're never going to talk to each other again.
You mean that dumb brother of yours hid it, now he won't tell you where it is?
But I'm trying to tell you. I asked him not to tell me.
Well, what am I supposed to do now?
Keep your voice down. That's one thing you're supposed to do.
Oh, you're right. What an act.
That's no act. Come on, let's go get that notebook. Boy, I tell you, this is the last time I do anything for... It's not there. Look, do me a favor. Check my room while I check Patty's.
What does the laundry bag look like?
It's got big flowers all over it.
What kind of flowers?
How should I know? I'm not a florist. Keep going.
Oh, hi, Eddie. Is Ross home?
Yeah, we're looking for a laundry bag with big anonymous flowers on it.
Thanks for reminding me.
About what?
Oh, Mrs. Lane asked me to put that laundry in the washing machine. I forgot all about it.
Hey, what are you just standing there for? Why aren't you looking for the laundry bag?
Where should I? Your dad found it.
Found it?
Yeah, he just went down and put it in the washing machine.
And you let him? Boy, Eddie, you are...
What do you mean let him? It's his laundry.
Dad, wait!
Ross, Dad, you're not gonna get away this time. Richard, you're
Patty, let go.
Now you listen to me.
Dad, don't put
the time. Where is that notebook?
Get out, Ross, you're starting to tick me off.
Did you call me Ross? I couldn't hear a thing with that washing machine going. What's all this yelling about?
Nothing, Dad, compared to the yelling you're gonna hear now.
It's pretty quiet in there.
Yeah. Either Richard is still mad and they're not talking, or they're not talking.
I don't think I've ever seen Richard so upset.
Well, do you blame him?
I think he could have been a little more gracious after we offered to make amends.
Yeah.
How are you boys coming along?
Just about finished.
Can you read it?
Well, it's certainly as legible as it was originally.
What's legible?
Well, it's the same as collusion, only not so underhanded. Forget it, keep working.
You're not scorching any of those pages, are you?
No, Mom, we get the iron set on rayon.
What about the cover?
Forget it. Come on, we better take these into Richard. Richard! Richard!
Yeah, Ross?
We got your notebook cleaned and pressed.
Gee, I certainly want to thank you, fellas.
You can read practically everything. That is, everything you could read before.
I'm sorry we got one of these pictures a little scorched.
Eddie.
Pictures?
Yeah, the ones of this girl.
Are they in there? You better let me have them.
May I see those? Thank you. Well, well, well. The many faces of Cynthia Howard.
No, wait a minute, Patty. Let me explain. When I ran into her at the library, she had these proofs from a photographer, and she asked me which one I preferred. When I couldn't make up my mind, she said, take them home, decide, let me know. You know, kind of sleep on it. I mean,
Is that how it happened?
I swear.
I think we better split.
Richard,
Now, wait a minute, Patty.
you said Cynthia gave you these pictures at the library that night. Now, we haven't seen each other since. Would you be good enough to explain to me how her pictures got in your science notebook, which was here all the time?
Now, wait a minute, Patty. You're mixing me up.
I'm not mixing you up. You were born that way. Good night. Now, don't say anything you'll regret. Just go home and think this over very clearly, and when you've got a reasonable explanation, call Cynthia Howard and give it to her.
I'm sorry, Patty.
Oh, that's okay, Eddie.
Thanks for not being sore.
It wasn't your fault. You did your best.
Patty, I just want to say that...
Who cares what you want to say? I'll never forgive you for this. But I never!
I'm going home.
I'm going with you.
Where's Ross going?
For a walk in space without a rope, I hope. Are you sure we didn't get him from a band of gypsies?
Well, I don't think it's fair to blame your troubles on him.
No, you're right. It's all your fault. Our fault?
How do you figure?
Well, if you two had been stronger 14 years ago when I was running around the house saying, I want a little brother, I want a little brother, none of this would have happened.
Here's Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. The Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of
Two in the dining room living it up.
Thank you, Kathy. And I want all of you to be especially careful not to get on his nerves tonight. Is that clear, Ross?
Sure. If I think of something that'll get on his nerves, I'll save it till tomorrow. Is that the idea?
Yes. No. Ross, your father's a little upset right at this time.
It's that circulation war with the Evening Express, isn't it?
So remember, I don't want to hear one word about the newspaper.
Hello, everybody. I'm home.
Oh, dear, when he sounds that cheerful, I know he's in a bad mood. Now, remember,
Not one word about the newspaper.
Hi, honey.
Hi, dear.
Gee, it's good to have you home early for a change.
Here, Uncle Martin, I'll take your briefcase.
Well, Kath, there's some papers in there I want to look at
Slippers
before
are right
dinner.
here, Dad. Here, let me help you all over here.
Son, what are you doing? Take it easy, will you? Ow! Ross!
Sorry about that.
Incidentally, the answer is no.
About what?
About whatever it is you're after.
Honey, he's just trying to be helpful. There. Comfy?
And we're not going to redo the living room now.
All I want is for you just to sit back and relax until
Here's your pipe,
dinner.
Uncle Martin.
Now, if there's anything you want, you just let us know.
I'm sorry.
All I would like right now is a little uninterrupted peace and quiet.
Hi, everybody. Are you ready for this? A candy striper's uniform.
They've accepted you at the hospital. Wonderful.
Yeah, Mrs. Williams, the head nurse, says it's going to be a lot more hard work than glamour, but who knows where it could lead? I might wind up in a jungle hospital.
We should be so lucky.
There's got to be enough of that, son. Patty, I'm very proud of you. When did you get interested in being a nurse's aide?
Well, there was this newspaper article calling for volunteers.
Oh? I don't recall the Chronicle running anything like that recently.
No, I didn't read it in the Chronicle.
Patty.
I read it in the Evening Express. Yeah, Ma?
Forget it.
Meet Kathy, who lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day.
Where Kathy adores a minuet.
The ballet russe and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves to rock and roll. The hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet. Still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Well, why shouldn't I blow my stack, Jim? All I hear from you are excuses. Don't you think I got enough trouble with TJ on my back about the circulation problem? I don't see why I should have to tolerate this kind of asinine behavior from myself. Jim, I'm sorry. Forget the whole thing. If they dropped the front page in typesetting, I'm sure there was a good reason for it. Yeah, all right. Goodbye, Jim. Where was I now? Item 7, concerning the circulation problem. Oh, shut up. Oh, brother. Item 7, concerning the circulation problem. Perhaps the Chronicle needs a new image.
Papa, would you mind if I took a real quiet look at the medical encyclopedia?
No, go ahead.
Thank you.
Larger masthead, easier to read type, maybe greater photo coverage. Item 8.
Sorry.
What's that?
Oh, it's been for taking your blood pressure.
A sphygmometer.
Yeah, I got it at a medical surplus store just in case there's an emergency at the hospital.
Patty, what kind of an emergency could there be where they'd allow a nurse's aide to take blood pressure?
An epidemic, maybe, if I'm lucky.
Item 8. How about doubling the size of the sports page? Item 9. Another possibility might be to lower all new subscription
Oh,
rates.
can I borrow your left arm?
What?
Well, Well, you're only using your right hand, and I thought if you weren't using the other one, I could take your blood pressure.
Patty, I know what my blood pressure is. Boiling. Now, will you take that thing and get out of here?
Sure, Papa. Just thought you'd be interested in my career.
Oh, Patty, wait a minute. Look, honey, of course I'm interested in your career. I'm interested in whatever you're doing. It's just that there are times when life forces us to be more interested in other things, like making a living.
Pretty rough, huh?
Well, let's just say that if the Chronicle circulation doesn't improve, then T.J. Blodgett's disposition won't either. So I'm trying to do everything I can to come up with new ideas to hypo the sales.
How about a contest?
No, the Evening Express specializes in contests. They run every one in the book.
Yeah, but a medical contest?
A what?
A medical quiz. Every day you ask a different question about medicine, and then at the end of the month, the winner gets a groovy prize.
Like a free appendectomy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The general public isn't as interested in medicine as we specialists.
Yeah, well, look, Patty, I really got to get back to my memo, okay?
Sure, as soon as I finish taking your pulse. The duodenal ulcer is easily distinguished from the peptic variety by noting that...
Ow! Oh! That stupid skateboard, you dumb thing. Oh!
Ross, what happened?
Oh, I got a splinter on my finger from that stupid skateboard.
Ooh. Ross, when did you have your last tetanus shot?
My last what?
Never mind, we have to do something before infection sets in. What happened? Ross got a splinter in his finger. Kathy, would you get me the first aid kit in the bathroom and a needle and something to sterilize it with? Of course.
What? Hey, come on, you aren't gonna stick any needles in me. Not without a license, you aren't.
Ross, will you just sit still and stop circulating your blood? It's bad for the infection.
What infection? I just got the splinter.
You don't know where that skateboard's been.
It's never been anywhere I haven't been.
That's what I mean. Here, Patty, here's the first aid kit. Thank you. Alcohol?
Hey, come on now.
Come on, Ross, sit still and stop being such a baby. Now, give me the needle.
Hey, come on now. Let me do it myself.
Come on, Kathy, grab his other hand.
Ah!
Ross, can't you stand a little pain?
Yeah, but that was the wrong finger.
Patty, I heard a scream. What's the matter?
Nothing, Mom, nothing at all. Accidents will happen.
Well, let's have a look.
Are you all right?
Oh, my ankle.
Oh, don't anybody touch him. He might be fractured. Just stay away. Let him breathe. Okay, now. Don't worry, Papa. I'll help you out. Let me see. Bandage, compress. Oh, darn, I don't have any splints.
Natalie, would you please call the doctor before she starts to operate?
Keep him quiet now. Boy, Papa, you sure were lucky. It says here, even a simple fracture of the abductor hallucis bone can take months to heal.
I'll bear that in mind. Next time I'm tempted to trip over a skateboard. Hey, where did Dr. Fenneman go?
He's talking to Mom.
You're sure it's nothing serious, Ralph?
Positive. I only wish I could be as optimistic about his general condition. I've never seen Martin quite so on edge.
These last few months have been impossible. Nights, weekends, he practically lives at the office.
What he needs is a nice long weekend in the country with plenty of quiet.
Now, in the middle of that awful circulation war with the Evening Express, he'd never go. He'd think he was deserting under fire.
Well, if he won't go away, let me see what I can do on the home front to get him some rest.
What's the verdict?
Well, you won't be doing any place kicking for the Giants, but I imagine you'll survive.
Now, that's what I told you over the phone. You didn't have to come rushing over here. I know how you live for those Friday night poker games.
I was getting lousy cards anyway. You probably saved me a fortune.
Good. You can take it off my bill. Anyway, thanks very much, Ralph. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next month at the council meeting.
Make that tomorrow at the hospital. I want to take a few x-rays just to be on the safe side. And while we're at it, we might as well give you a complete physical.
What?
And with the weekend coming up, you'll only miss Monday at the office.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Oh,
So I'll see you there at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
oh, brother.
Martin, stop grumbling and be grateful you have a doctor who cares.
Hey, Papa, you know what I just realized?
What?
Tomorrow's my first day at the hospital, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now you have two things to be grateful for. orange juice.
Oh, Patty, I'm not thirsty now.
Papa, let's not get off on the wrong foot. You need your vitamin C. Now, come on, drink up. I have lots of work to do. Sorry, Papa. Okay, there you go. Takes a while to get used to these things.
Patty, you can take it away now. I've had my orange juice.
Oh, good, Papa. There we go. Oh, Papa, you spilled it all over yourself.
Patty, you're a nurse's aide, aren't you?
Of course.
Well, shouldn't you be off somewhere aiding a nurse?
Oh, no, this is my lunchtime. I can spend a whole hour with you.
You can?
Uh-huh.
Well, honey, I really got a lot of work to do.
Now, Papa, if I let you do any work, I'd be violating my Hippocratic oath.
That's Hippocratic, and I swear I won't tell a soul.
Papa, my orders are absolute rest. Now, how about a nice book?
I don't feel like reading.
Too tired, huh?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Oh. Then I'll read to you.
No, Patty, I'm going to go to sleep right now.
Oh, good. You know, Papa, I read where 60% of the best... If you're looking for your briefcase, I took it for the duration. Pleasant dreams. Bye.
Dr. Summers, third floor reception, please.
Hi. Anybody home? Mr. Schroeder? Oh. Excuse me. We are Professor Schroeder, aren't we?
Well, I don't know about you, but the last time I looked, I was Smith.
What are you doing in the closet?
Who, me? Why don't you pull up a wheelchair and sit down?
In the closet? Isn't it a little stuffy in here?
Yeah. Stuffy, unprivate. That's what a man needs around here. A closet full of privacy.
So he can sneak a cigar against doctor's orders. Oh, I read your chart. Imagine a grown man like you sneaking off in the closet like a little boy to hide from the head nurse.
I thought it was pretty clever myself.
I think you should be ashamed of yourself. And what do you have to say about that?
I'm ashamed of myself.
Come on. Let's just come right out here and make ourselves comfortable. We'll sit down and we'll wheel right over there. There you go. That's nice. Come right over here and open the blinds.
Oh, please, don't open the blinds. From here, you can see the incinerator.
So?
You expect me to watch all that wonderful smoke pouring out of that chimney when you won't let me even sneak a teensy-weensy cigar?
Hello? Oh, hi, TJ. How's everything at the office?
Martin, I think I've got a hold of something big. Did you ever hear of a Professor Heinrich Schroeder?
Oh, yeah, he's a space scientist, isn't he? He's got a book coming out about how to colonize the moon.
Yeah, that's our boy. Martin, do you realize what a daily serialization of that book could mean to the Chronicle?
Yeah, 10,000 new readers, maybe 20. You mean you got it set up?
No, not exactly. I've decided to leave the details up to you, inasmuch as Schroeder checked into the hospital there this morning. Now, all you have to do is find out what room he's in, then you make your pitch, and then...
Oh, now, wait a minute, TJ. I can't go barging into a man's hospital room with a business proposition. That isn't ethical.
Who said anything about barging? Use your ingenuity.
Like what?
Like you used to when you were a young reporter, without ethics.
Wait a minute.
Calling Dr. Paisley. Calling Dr. Paisley.
Pop-O, you know you're not supposed to be out of your room.
Oh, well, I just thought I'd stretch my legs. I mean, my arms. So I decided I'd better take a little walk. Ride.
Dr. Fenneman says you're supposed to stay off your feet.
I am off my feet.
I'm sorry, Papa, but rules are rules. Honestly, Kathy, he is positively the worst patient I've ever handled in my entire medical career. He won't stay still a minute. I can imagine. Patty, there must be something you can do to get his mind off the Chronicle. Yeah, but what? Perhaps it would be good therapy if you got him interested in someone else's problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good idea. Of course, I don't know how you'd go about it, but... Oh, that's okay, Kathy. I'll figure it out. Papa doesn't know it, but he's about to get a crash course in instant therapy. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Hello, admissions desk. This is Mr. Lane in room 274. Say, I hear that an old friend of mine has just checked into the hospital, Professor Heinrich Schroeder. Oh, room 237. I wonder if you could put me through, please. Oh, he's not allowed to accept calls. Well, I guess I'll just have to write him a note then. No messages either. Well, excuse me, I'll have to hang up now.
Papa?
Huh?
I found someone to cheer you up.
Oh?
I'd like you to meet Mr. Peabody. Mr. Peabody, this is my father, Mr. Lane. Mr. Peabody came in with the same problem you have, a sprained ankle.
Oh, really? Well, of course, Mr. Peabody, I didn't really sprain my ankle. I just twisted it. I'll be walking out of here first thing Tuesday morning.
That's what I thought, till the complications set in.
Complications? What kind?
Who knows? They ain't been able to find them yet. 6 weeks ago, I come here a healthy man. Now look at me. Even my hair hurts.
Well, Mr. Peabody, you just stay here and have a nice long chat with Papa. It'll be good for his morale.
Nice girl you got there.
Thank you.
Hope you don't catch anything working around here. Not for germs, you know. And that was just the beginning. 3 years ago, I come here with an ingrown toenail. Would you believe it? Inside of 12 hours, they was blaming the whole thing on a busted collarbone.
I don't know. Well, Patty was sure right about one thing, Mr. Peabody. You've had an amazing effect on my morale.
Always glad to help a fellow sufferer.
Believe me, Mr. Peabody, I'll never forget you for this. Now, I hope you don't mind if I get you started on your way. See, I think I'd like to be alone for a while I make out my will. Goodbye, Mr. Peabody. Hello? Oh, yeah. Hello, TJ. Well, no, I haven't. Not yet. But you only called an hour ago, and I... Yes, TJ, I know they can circle the Earth in 90 minutes. But it just so happens I don't have a booster rocket on my wheelchair. TJ, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hang up. Goodbye.
Papa?
Huh?
I brought a visitor by for you. I thought you might be bored, so this is Peter Mason, and he's come by to cheer you up.
Hi, Mr. Mason.
No, I think you're Mr. Mason.
Oh, yes. That's right.
Mr. Mason is a poet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. He hasn't had anything published yet, so I thought maybe you could give him some advice.
Yeah, well, I'd be very happy to.
Well, it just so happens I have a sample of my work right here, Mr. Lane. It's a short history of Liechtenstein.
Well, that's a very impressive piece of work, Mr. Mason. 857 pages. If you spread them all out, they'd be larger than the whole country.
He's very amusing, Patty, just like you said he would.
Well, I'm very sorry, Mr. Mason, but I really don't have time to...
But they're very fast reading, Mr. Lane. It's all in verse. A Short History of Liechtenstein by Peter Mason. Once upon a time, there was no Liechtenstein. It was just a bunch of scenery with idlewives and greenery. Everywhere were castles run by knights and vassals. In winter they were frozen because they dressed in lederhosen. And from the mountains to the valleys with beer and sometimes wine, they toasted the new nation and they called it Liechtenstein. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot to digest.
Oh, you want me to read it again?
No. I'll tell you, Mr. Mason, I think what we'd better do is just give me a little time to cogitate about it, and maybe we could talk it over on Tuesday, late in the day.
Okay, because I want to get started on my next history. China. Thank you very much, Mr. Lane, for all the wonderful help. Goodbye. Get well.
For heaven's sakes, TJ, will you give me a chance? I was just on my way out the door to talk to the... Natalie?
Martin, what's the matter, dear? Why are you so upset?
It's your daughter, the poor man's Florence Nightingale.
What has she done?
You mean, what hasn't she done? In the past 4 hours, she has deluged me with a parade of characters that would make your hair stand on end. Natalie, I swear, if she comes through that door with one more crackpot, I'll call you right back.
Hi, Papa.
You're just the young lady I want to talk to, Patty.
Oh, good, but first I'd like you to meet one of the most interesting men...
One moment. Pardon me, sir, but this is a private conversation.
Oh, yeah. Far would it be for me to intrude between a father or his daughter, especially such a charming daughter. But if you'll take my advice...
At the risk of being rude, I don't want your advice.
Papa.
Oh, that's all right, Liebchen, I understand. What I wanted to say was...
I don't care what you wanted to say, sir. Would you kindly leave? I'd like to be alone.
Don't worry. With your disposition, that should be easy. It's lucky that girl takes after her mother.
Only unmitigated gall. He comes barging into my room and he insults me.
Don't blame him. It was my fault. I thought you'd be delighted to meet a nice man like Professor Schroeder.
Patty, at this point, I wouldn't be delighted to meet the... Professor Schroeder? Heinrich Schroeder?
Yeah, that's him. He's a pretty big wheel, you know.
Now you tell me. Patty, I've been trying to talk to him all day. I've got to find him now. Professor Schroeder, sir, just wait a minute. Sir, please, I've got to explain. I'm terribly sorry about what just happened.
Finally got him interested in somebody else's problem.
I must say, Professor, it was very generous of you to accept my apologies for our little misunderstanding the way you did.
Well, if there's one lesson I've learned in life, it's never to trust first impressions.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Now, what about the Chronicle's offer to serialize your book?
Okay. I make you a wager.
How do you mean?
A bet. You win this game, and I give you what you want.
Really? Gee, that's very sporting of you. Very generous.
Not at all. Because I think in 3 moves, I got you beat.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't think so.
No? Why not?
Because in 1 move, I've got you checkmated.
No.
Yes?
Ah, show me.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but the game is over. It's time for supper.
My dear friend, I am a man of science. I have been around the world, and I have seen many things. And this I say only to you. Boy, have you got a problem.
Here's Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. The Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins. talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two.
What's so interesting out here? Oh, nothing. The Johnsons are having their garage painted.
Meet Kathy, who lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day.
Where Kathy adores a minuet,
The ballet russe and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves to rock and roll, the hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet! Still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't disturb you.
That's all right.
I'm Patty Lane. I live here. I'm a neighbor to the Johnsons.
Uh-huh.
I've been their neighbor ever since we moved next door to each other. I certainly admire the way you handle that brush. I think being a painter is a marvelous career.
I'm not a painter. This is just a summer job. I go to forestry school.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to be a ranger.
I think being a ranger is a marvelous career. You know, I think that's what's wrong with civilization today. We've gotten too far away from the tree.
Kathy, where are you going with that? I just emptied it a little while ago. Why, it's still practically empty.
Well, you know the old saying, Aunt Natalie, if you keep emptying a wastebasket, it will never get full. Mom, have you ever thought of how unselfish trees are?
Not lately.
It's worth thinking about. Do you know that some noble oak gave his life so that we could have this beautiful table?
Well, in that case, I'm going to sue the furniture store. They told me that table was solid walnut.
Where's Kathy?
She just went to empty the wastebasket.
Mom, don't you think the curtains in our room need to be ironed?
Yes, they do, honey, but I just don't have time today.
Oh, look, Mom, it's Kathy's in my room. I'll iron them. I'll go get the iron.
Pat, I don't think that's a very good idea. You know, the last time you tried to iron them, you almost burned the house down.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, if you're trying to tell me that Kathy is a better ironer than I am, I won't be hurt. I'll go tell her. Kathy! Excuse me. Mom would like you to iron the curtains in our room. Well, I told Hank I'd get him a glass of water. Hank? Yes, he's very interesting, isn't he? Yeah. Look, you better get on the curtains and I'll get him his glass of water. Patty, are you sure that was Aunt Natalie's idea and not yours? Why, Kathy, you should be ashamed of yourself. Wash your brain out with soap.
Thanks, Patty.
You're welcome, Hank. I know it doesn't have that tang of water fresh from a mountain stream, which I so love, but it's all we can get out of our tap.
Funny how you and your cousin both go for the outdoors.
Well, I suppose some of my enthusiasm is rubbed off on her.
Yeah. She said she once spent her vacation in the Alps and climbed the Matterhorn.
She called that a climb?
It's supposed to be pretty high.
That's because Switzerland is so small, it just makes the Matterhorn look big by comparison. Give me the Rockies any day.
Yeah.
You like the Rockies?
I've got an application in for assistant ranger at Yellowstone Park.
No kidding. You know, you rangers are the unsung heroes of our society.
Tell that to Congress. If they don't pass H.R. 973A, this country's gonna be in big trouble.
You're absolutely right. What is that?
Forest conservation.
Forest conservation is a must. It should be supported by everybody who loves wood.
You really feel that way?
Of course I feel that way. Do you know I was the only kid in my class who hated Pinocchio?
Dr. S.L. Talbot, $50. Hey, Natalie, how long are we going to have to keep paying this dentist?
Till we get Ross's teeth untangled.
Well, I wish he'd smile once in a while when we have company so people could see what a generous father I am.
Papa, excuse me. Can I ask you something about going to the beach again this summer?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, are we going to keep going there year after year?
I thought you enjoyed the beach.
Oh, yeah, I do, but, you know, there is such a thing as getting into a rut. I mean, all they have there is sand and water. Couldn't we do something more outdoorsy?
More outdoorsy than the beach?
Well, higher and greener. Like mountains and forests. Someplace where you can sleep under a blanket of stars and listen to the forest murmuring in your ears.
Well, I'll think about it.
Thanks, Papa. Oh, by the way, Papa, while you're writing, don't forget to send a letter to your congressman and tell him to vote yes on H.R. 973A.
What's that?
Forest conservation. The whole thing is snowballing. Get behind it. You too, Mom.
What's his sudden passion for the great outdoors?
I'm not sure, but I think the answer is a bunch of muscles at the end of a wet paintbrush.
It is a gymnosperm. Protagonist Pinus foolishness. It is a Where's Kathy?
She's outside emptying another wastebasket. Boy, I tell you, if you want to find dirt in this house, you gotta borrow a cup next door. Oh, something new has been added. Tarzan is working with his shirt off.
Is that wastebasket gone again?
I'll get it. Kathy! What is it, Patty? Mom needs the wastebasket, Kathy. Where are you going? To get rid of this. Hi.
Hi.
You're doing a wonderful job there.
Thanks.
Oh, by the way, is that pine?
No, spruce.
Oh, speaking of pine, the botanical name is Pinus palustris, and it's a gymnosperm of the conifer family, and it's indigenous of the North Temperate Zones, United States, and Canada, as you probably already know.
Yeah.
The gas having wood in common.
The way to remember is coniferous trees have cones and deciduous trees have leaves.
Oh, I'm so glad you're straightening me out, Hank. I always get deciduous mixed up with the kind with the cones.
Hi, Patty.
Hi. Richard, this is Hank. Hank, this is Richard.
Hi.
Hi.
Go on. What are some more of the deciduous species?
Well, you've got your elm, your oak, your maple, your walnut, and so forth.
Elm, oak, maple, walnut, and so forth.
Maple walnut. That's one of my favorite flavors.
Richard, we're talking about trees.
Oh.
What are some of the kinds with the cones?
Well, they're your evergreens or needle leaf trees that hold on to their leaves all year, except for your bald cypress and your larch.
Have you ever been to Sequoia National Forest?
No.
I was. My folks took me. You know what kind of trees they have there?
Sequoias.
Not exactly, but mostly.
What about the bald cypress, Hank?
Well, you find
Let
it
me
mostly...
ask you this. Do you guys know why some maple trees give syrup and some don't?
Because some are sugar maples and some aren't.
Well, that's what most people think. Well, actually, it's true. But the important thing is when you're out looking for syrup, make sure it's a sugar maple. Because some of them aren't.
Richard, could I talk to you a moment, please? Excuse us. Do you realize you're talking to a man who's practically a forest ranger?
So?
So people who pretend they know things they don't know just make fools of themselves, which is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, well, don't expect me to support that forest conversation bill.
Conservation.
Well, I'm not going to vote for either one of them.
Natalie, where are you? Patty? Kathy? Ross?
Honey, what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. Sit down, sit down. Listen, when I was at the office today, it hit me like a brainstorm. Oh, hi, kids. Come on, sit down. I want you to hear this. Patty was right.
Of course I was. About what?
Well, about our going to the beach every summer. Instead of bringing this family together, the beach tends to pull us apart.
I don't understand.
Well, look, we all go to the beach together and we come home together, but in between, everybody goes off in his own separate ways. I mean, one person goes swimming, another one goes fishing, another one plays bridge, another one collects shells, and the only time we ever see each other is at dinner to say, pass the sugar.
Or waiting to get into the bathroom.
Right. Good. Anyway, why can't we all go camping? I mean, pitch a tent out somewhere in the woods. No telephones, no gasoline fumes, nobody else around. Just all of us working together and playing together like a real family.
Pitch a tent? You mean sleep on the ground with all those crawly things?
Oh, Natalie, we'd have sleeping bags. You'd love it.
Oh, Papa, I think it's a great idea. Really smashing.
At last I'll get a chance to use my hunting knife.
You know where we should go? Yellowstone National Park. I hear the forest rangers there are very dedicated.
Yellowstone? Don't they have bears up there?
Oh, yeah, but they're very friendly and polite.
Oh, you mean they say excuse me before they tear your head off?
Well, now, wait a minute. I wasn't thinking of anything that far away. You know, maybe the Catskills or the Adirondacks. Natalie, you'd love it.
Knowing this family, the whole thing would probably be just a giant lash-up.
Now, Natalie, that is not necessarily the case.
That's what happened to Ozzie and Harriet last week.
Ozzie and Harriet who?
Ricky's mother and father.
I don't think I've ever met them. And anyway, it is not going to be any giant lash-up because I have a master plan. Now, I have borrowed some camping equipment, and we are going to have a dry run before we head for the hills.
Oh, boy, where?
Right in our own backyard.
Our backyard?
Well, why not? There's plenty of room.
Papa, that's a fantastic idea. Please, Mom.
Well...
That makes it unanimous. All right, everybody. The Lane expedition shoves off for the backyard tomorrow morning at 0800. Any questions?
Yahoo! Sounds wonderful. Mom, you'll love it. I promise no little bugs will crawl, and you will get that free stuff, and they won't let
You're setting up camp in the backyard?
Yeah. You see, the family's gonna go to the mountains for the summer, and I don't want to be saddled with a bunch of amateurs, so I thought I'd break them in first.
Thanks, Kath.
6-man life raft? Don't tell me you expect a flood.
Oh, of course not. Ed just gave me all the equipment he had.
This is ridiculous. Lewis and Clark didn't take this much stuff.
Lewis and Clark?
Oh, Ozzie and Harriet's in-laws.
No, Natalie, if you don't stop heckling, we may have to ask you to leave camp.
Is that a promise?
All right, everybody, let's get this show on the road. Come on.
I better go help them out.
Hey, Ross, you start untying the bedrolls.
Oh, but I want to help with the tent.
Oh, no, Kathy and I are gonna put up the tent. Mom, I'm starved. Don't you have anything to eat?
I just found the dishes.
Oh, good. I'll get it.
No, you won't.
I'll get it.
No, you won't get it either.
Why not?
Because if we're going to do this thing at all, we're going to do it right. Now, as far as you're all concerned, we're out in the woods, miles from the nearest phone.
It's funny, I can hear it just as clear as day.
I repeat, Ross, we are in the wilderness. That is not a phone ringing.
Don't be silly, Martin. That call might be for me.
Or me.
Or even me.
Oh, come on now, all of you. Papa's absolutely right. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it completely.
Thank you, Patty. Now, everybody tries saying to himself, there is no house. We are alone in the woods.
Trying to keep a woman from answering a phone is cruel and inhuman.
What phone? Do you hear a phone?
I don't hear a phone. Do you hear a phone?
No, I hear a bird ringing.
Now, come on, everybody repeat after me. There is no house. We are alone in the woods. Well, come on, repeat it.
There is no house. We are alone in the woods.
Okay, Ross, you get started with the fire and girl... Holy smoke, you know, I bet that's Bert on the phone about the golf game.
What phone? I don't hear any phone.
No, Natalie, don't be silly. This is important.
Papa, have you forgotten? There is no house. We are alone in the woods.
How you doing, son?
Who said you could light a fire by rubbing two sticks together?
Well, you just have to keep at it.
Why can't I use some matches?
Because every experienced camper should be able to start a fire by friction. Suppose you were out in the woods and you lost your matches.
I couldn't.
What makes you so sure?
Because you're always telling me I'm too young to carry matches.
Ross.
I know the pole is too short, but if you keep moving, you'll make the whole thing fall down. The stakes are going to come out. Come on, Patty, now stop it.
All right, now, just simmer down in here. Let's have a little less argument and more cooperation. Now, this is simple. All you need is the pole that holds up this end of the tent.
These are the only two poles left, and they're too short.
Oh. Well, I guess we'll just have to improvise something. Let's see, I don't suppose a shovel would work, would it?
No. How about those bamboo poles that come in the carpet? We'd have to go inside the house for it. Oh.
I've got an idea.
Yeah?
Why don't we forget the tent and sleep in the house like human beings?
Now, Natalie, let's not panic. I mean, I'm sure we can find a substitute for a pole.
Oh, Mr. Lane?
Uh-huh.
Those two short poles you've got.
Yeah?
I think you'll find one fits into the other.
Well... Oh, yeah, gee, thank you very much. Huh, I wonder why...
I tried to show them how, but they wouldn't listen to me.
Well, I'm gonna pack it in.
But you're coming back tomorrow, aren't you?
Sure, to finish up.
Oh, good. I can't tell you what a comfort it is knowing that we have a real live forest ranger right next door.
Well, so long.
See ya.
Nothing like a nice trip on a raft.
Patty, don't eat them until they're cooked.
I can't help it. That may be never.
Ross, how's it going?
No luck.
Well, stay with it.
Martin, we're starved.
Yeah, well, just as soon as Ross gets that fire going, we'll eat.
Why can't we have some raw candy bars or something?
Because we're in the woods, and I just caught these trout.
Except that you didn't catch them, you bought them, and they're not trout, they're flounder.
Hey, I just got an idea. Why don't we cook them Indian style?
How's that?
You make a hole in the ground, you put the fish in there, and then you make the fire over it.
Sounds great.
It does?
Yeah, it seals in the flavor. Hey, whet your appetites, everybody. We're going to have our fish Indian style. Faster, Ross, faster. You've almost got it. That's it, girls. Come on, blow, harder. Come on.
Hold it! Now, I know there's no house, and I know there's no paper, and no kindling, and no match, but I am starved.
Yahoo! I've been freed!
Well, there we are. Fish Indian style.
Okay, everybody, let's dig in. It's very,
Oh, yes, it is.
Tastes kind of like, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's got a certain quality. It's kind of hard to put your finger on. It's terrible. That's the quality. Patty, are you sure this is the way the Indians used to make it?
I only told you how to make it. I didn't say it was any good.
sacroiliac will never be the same. I thought you said those things were comfortable.
They are. I never had a more restful sleep in my life.
Oh!
Boy.
I'm going to go start breakfast. How would you like your eggs?
Any way but Indian style.
Hurry it up, will you, Kathy? Yes.
What's the matter?
Her blouse is caught in the zipper.
How'd you do a stupid thing like that?
Trying to embarrass me in front of the whole world.
Don't worry, the whole world hasn't come to work yet.
What's the problem, kids?
Oh, it's the zipper.
What's wrong?
Why doesn't everybody stop asking stupid questions and do something?
Have you tried putting some soap on the zipper?
Careful, dear, you'll tear her blouse.
Papa, please hurry it up.
All right, now, don't get hysterical.
Listen, I've got a thingamajig in the house for fixing a zipper.
You have?
Unfortunately, I don't have one here in the wilderness.
All right, go get it, and I'll get pliers out of my...
I wonder where I put it.
I have you, Aunt Natalie.
In case nothing else works, I'll get some soap.
Hi. What are you doing in the sack so late?
It was so comfy here with the sky and the trees and the grass and the ground. I just can't seem to tear myself out of this bag.
I know what you mean. Well, I gotta get started.
I got the pliers. Did you find a thingamajig, Nat?
Yes, I'm coming right down.
Where is she? Where in the world did she disappear to?
What's that noise?
What happened?
Nothing. I'm just looking out for forest fire. Hey.
Hi, honey.
Silly. Forgot your lunch.
Holy cow, I did. Thanks. Hiya, Tiger. Yep, he's getting to look more like his old man every day.
Tablecloth.
And here we are back to civilization.
Well, we certainly learned a lot.
Didn't we, though?
All right, so we had a few problems. That's why we did it, to find the snags.
Well, we certainly found them, didn't we? I'll say.
Hey, girls, do I get the impression that you're not as keen about camping as you used to be?
Well, I don't know about Kathy, but I'm as enthusiastic as ever.
You are?
Uh-huh. I think it's a group.
You do?
Yeah. But, for your sake, Papo, I really think we ought to go back to the beach this summer.
For my sake?
Well, I know how much you'd miss your deep sea fishing.
Please don't mention fish.
Patty, what about the mountains and the stately pines?
Well, I figure it this way, Mom. You've seen one tree, you've seen them all.
Well, I certainly wouldn't miss my deep sea fishing, but I wouldn't want to deprive the rest of you.
Please, deprive me.
Personally, I can't wait for a house full of sand.
I'm for the beach, too. Papo, I just got the greatest idea.
Yeah?
The first fish you catch, I'm gonna cook it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I got this great recipe no Indian ever heard of.
Good.
You take the fish, and you bury it in the sand.
No, thanks.
And then you go to a hamburger stand.
Here's Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. The Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see Sometimes they even talk a